Welcome. Today we're going to talk about something called the trump card. I have the manual for it here. You'll actually see the hardware in a moment. Now this bears no relation to any person by that name, so don't think of something like that. This is a retro computing project, vintage computing from the year 1984 or so. So I have to start out with a request from the community. I bought this trump card knowing that it did not include the software that went with it. I had the seller look before I bought it, wasn't there. And I also knew that the software is not known to exist anywhere. My hope is by buying this card, by making a video on it, I can get some awareness and I can find someone out there in the community who does have the software. These were made in about 1984 or so. There was an article in Byte magazine by Steve Ciarcia. Yes, the Steve Ciarcia, the circuit seller guy, about this card with full schematics on it so that you could actually go and build one of these if you wanted to. Then all you had to do is send Steve proof that you'd built it. He would send you the software. So some people probably have the software, plus it was commercialized, this commercial product here, by a Sweet Micro system. So please check your disc collection. If you owned one of these cards and might still have the discs, if you built one and have the discs, please let me know. If you worked for Sweet Micro Systems or you know someone who did, please let me know. Sweet Micro Systems also produced a bunch of other hardware, including for the Apple II back in the day. But this here, it would be great to get this card going again. And not just my card, but if we could get permission to redistribute this software, then we could put it out in public and people could build these things themselves. So anyway, on with the show. Let's take a look at the card.
Okay, before we open up and unbox the trump card that I bought, let's take and do a little bit of background research. So there are a couple of articles up on the web. These are at David Tweed's website, and these are a couple of old Ciarcia circuit seller articles. So these are written by the legendary Steve Ciarcia, who I remember reading many of his columns out of Byte magazine and out of Circuit Seller Inc. back in the day. But Steve wrote these two articles on the trump card, and they describe what it is, how it works, it even has the schematics. So basically, it is a 16-bit coprocessor for your IBM 5150. And you can read all about how it works in here, all about the performance, a little bit about the software that he supports. Look, there's some benchmarks about how fast the IBM PC is compared to the trump card. Now, I think you may be getting a little bit of performance boost here from the basic compiler in addition to the different CPU. And then it talks about the Z8000 CPU. It goes into it in some detail, and then it actually starts going through schematics for the trump card. So there's really enough in here that you could build this thing yourself. But where you're going to run into trouble is you get down here, let's see, at the very bottom, and it talks about, I want to encourage you to build your own trump card, if that is your choice. Send me a picture of the completed unit. I will send you a copy of the complete software and the documentation provided for personal, non-commercial use. Blah, 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 $30. Unfortunately, waived all royalties as gesture support for the circuit seller. Unfortunately, as far as I know, you can't find the software anywhere anymore. Now, I will try to contact Steve Ciarcia and see if we can find it from him. But I have read elsewhere that he doesn't have it either. But it's worth a shot because I can certainly prove that I have one, and you'll see that in a moment. And there's actually some prices if you had wanted to buy this one. Would be where mine was presumably manufactured with Sweet Micro Systems. They sold the things for like $1,000 assembled, or $1,325 with more RAM. RAM was expensive back then. Or you could build it yourself for $525. So that's all about the hardware. Then there was a second article down here on the software where Steve went through all of the software that's supported on the card. Again, you can read all of this yourself. It talks about the basic compiler, and it talks about the C compiler, the CPM emulator. Now that's really interesting because the Z8000 is not binary compatible with the Z80, so there's some kind of an emulator that they wrote to do emulation. I wonder how much does it slow it down? Be interesting to know.
Okay, let's go ahead and open this up. So it says, right on here, it says trump card. Oh, there, trump card. What could be in here? So here we have Sweet Microsystems, a manual. Okay, let's open up this manual and have a look. What do we have here? Kind of a placement diagram for chips on the board. A bunch of RAM chips. Yeah, it's got them all spec'd out. So Z8000 would be our CPU there. Title page, Sweet Microsystems. Another placement diagram. Dear Trump Card customer, thank you for purchasing the Trump Card from Sweet Microsystems. You'll now be spending less time waiting for your programs to run and thus have more time for more important matters. Okay, lots of table of contents. So, introduction. So we'll explain what this card does. One of the most powerful and versatile peripherals that can be added to an IBM PC. Z8000 CPU with 512 kilobytes of random access memory. Included in the software are two compiler programming languages, an assembler and a metacompiler, a built-in editor, a Z80 emulator, and co-processing Windows, all of which run under the Z8000 operating system. Configurable RAM disk, ZSys, and the Trump Card operating system. So yeah, it tells us to plug it in. And it tells us this goes with DOS 2.0. Tells us how to make a copy of the disks. And here's the various programs that are on it. So a basic compiler, a C compiler, CD, check disk, compare, copy, debug, dir, DR, drive command, editor, find, link, run, show memory, split, Y is the Z8000 multi-level language and debugger, and a CPM 2.2 emulator. So it's got all of this stuff in it, but we're going to need to get our hands on this software because we can't do a whole lot for it without the software. Look at this here. We have nice high quality schematics. I'm going to have to get these scanned in. I think the magazine article also has the schematics. This here is probably, yeah, this is just all memory chips. Alright. Here, just a cardboard. And in here, this should be the card itself. So the previous owner has wrapped it up, I think, in tin foil. It's like cooking tin foil. It's like a reasonably good way to preserve a board, I suppose. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so there's a bodge on the back here that has come apart. We'll have to figure out where that was. Some other bodges here on the back. Okay, taking a closer look at the Trump card. So we've got a Z8000 CPU here, a Z8001 to be precise. We've got a lot of RAM with it. These are 4256 chips, and there are what looks to be 16 of them per bank, 4 banks. It is a 16-bit CPU, so it's not surprising it's 16 chips per bank. You've got a couple of ROMs here, again 16-bit CPU, so you've got 16 bits worth of ROM. Those would hold the bootstrap program. So according to the magazine article, this thing is going to bootstrap from those ROMs. It's going to sit there and wait for instructions from the PC. Now there are multiple bodges up here on the top. You can see these little wires stringing around. Oh, this is just a chip that is stuck upside down on there, and it's been hand wired, so they bent the leads up. Interesting. Let's flip it over and look at the back. There's the back. That is my tape to keep this resistor lead there from getting in any more trouble. Now just looking at the back, a lot more hand-wired bodges going on there. But the board looks to be in safe, operable condition. Okay, so in retrospect, you've seen a few pictures of the trump card. As I said, I have not tried it out because I don't have the software that goes with it, and there's no point in even putting it in a computer without the software. So, if you have a trump card or software for a trump card, or you knew someone who did own one, or you knew someone who worked for the company or developed it or contracted on it, please let me know. I'd love to get this thing going, and we'll produce a follow-up video if we can. Thank you for watching my video. Please visit my website at www.smbaker.com for more electronics projects and sandrail stuff. Bye.